Well, for more on this, let's bring in Anna Borshchevskaya from the Washington Institute. Anna, a very good evening to you, and thanks very much for joining us here on France 24. How do we get to the bottom of what's really happening on the ground? For now, it's just Russia's word against Ukraine's.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me. Look, Putin has a history of very little credibility when it comes to Ukraine in particular, and when it comes to keeping promises in general. So I think if you look at the situation more broadly in context, look, Putin is looking at the U.S. election cycle. He knows that U.S. President Obama has very few months left in office. He also knows that President Obama has repeatedly asked for a resolution to the situation in Ukraine before the end of his term. And I think Putin is simply trying to preempt the situation on the Minsk talks by saying that by putting the West in front of a choice of either an all-out war with Ukraine or a resolution that fits Putin's terms. I wonder if he has anything up his sleeve in terms of a different kind of agreement that really favors Russia.
And some say the timing of all of this is significant. What with, I mean, you spoke of the U.S. election, but we know that Ukraine's Independence Day is just around the corner. That's at the end of the month. So could that also be Russia flexing its muscle at what is a sensitive time?
Absolutely. There's lots of other issues at play. In addition to Ukraine's Independence Day, as you said, Russia's own parliamentary election is coming up on September 18th. Furthermore, there's an interesting, the timing is interesting with Putin's meeting with Turkish President Erdogan just days earlier when the two leaders patched ties. Now, in March of this year, Turkey and Ukraine held joint naval drills because at the time Russian-Turkish relations were at their lowest following Turkish downing of the Russian jet. But now that Putin has kissed and made up with Erdogan, Ukraine has one less ally.
And just today, actually, the Russian military announced the delivery of new air defense missiles to Crimea and planning upcoming military exercises there. This now goes beyond words. So is Moscow trying to provoke an all-out conflict?
I think Putin, in reality, Putin probably would not want an all-out war with Ukraine, but what he does want is to scare the West into thinking that the war is going to happen in order to essentially blackmail Western leaders by saying it's either all-out war or peace on my terms.
Okay, Anna, thanks very much for that insight and for joining us here on France 24. That was Anna Borshchevskaya from the Washington Institute speaking to us.